Well, hello, friends. This is David Bose. Today is November 13th, 2014. It's wonderful to see everybody today. Well, today in the news, I wanted to talk about this shooting of bin Laden. It's been going around there on the news lately. Peter Doocy on Fox News has had this interview with the alleged shooter. Um, everybody's sitting around watching this just like, hey, this Rob O'Neill, he's definitely the guy that did it. Um, his story, he sits there and he's telling his story and it's all dramatic and so forth. And we're on, the edge of our seats and we're watching this. And of course, for just a moment we think, well, look at him. He's a clean cut kid and, shoot, he's from, the Midwest and he's from Butte, Montana. My goodness, he's got to be a real person. He couldn't be lying. And, you know, who cares that they took this body and threw it into the ocean, so there's never going to be ever any proof that we actually killed bin Laden. But we've got an eyewitness, the man who did it. All right. And these people, they don't go through any training, of course. They're SEALs. They're just honest, true. They have no ulterior motives. There's no fame. There's no money involved. I mean, this has got to be real, right? 9/11 was real, wasn't it? Sandy Hook? Yeah, I mean, it has to be real because the government says so. They didn't set any of this thing behind the scenes, right? This is all real stuff. It's not theatrics. Well, only problem is there's another guy that's wrote a book and that says he's the one that shot bin Laden. And he makes some pretty good points in that book that discredits the story of this wonderful clean-cut kid from Butte, Montana. So one of these boys are lying. Both of them are, Navy SEALs. If being one of the Navy SEALs means that you're honest and you couldn't possibly lie, well, then that throws that story right out the window because one of them's lying. However, it could very well be that they're both lying. And the entire thing is simply a way to get our minds to believe the story. Well, after all, if one of them's lying, the other one's got to be telling the truth. So, are you willing to believe your government? Because, our government doesn't lie. They're certainly not lying to us about ISIS and Syria and how they got there. They're not lying to us about Saddam Hussein, right? I mean, that was, real. There were weapons of mass destruction. We had to go in there. They had something to do with the terrorists over there, correct? Well, that turned out to be untrue, but we didn't bat an eyelash. Gaddafi, what was the real reason we took him out? Do you think they told us the truth? They lied about that. Of course, 9/11 was not carried out by bin Laden. We know that now. And one of the towers that came down wasn't even hit by a plane, but it just crumbled and disintegrated. And there are real, honest to goodness people that will look you square in the eye and say, "Oh, I believe it was bin Laden. Some guy with a beard over there in Afghanistan. He was up there in a cave and he planned the whole thing, and they had 4 guys get on a plane, and we believe the whole thing." How about the Gulf of Tonkin that unleashed Vietnam? Read up about that. Robert Kennedy, JFK. Did JFK just somehow mysteriously get shot for no reason? After he was trying to take down the elite, he just ends up dying? I suppose we have every reason to believe our government. So, of course, we have to believe that we killed Osama bin Laden and immediately threw him into the ocean so there would be no more evidence. The story goes that they were told, the Navy SEALs, they were told not to shoot in the face because they wanted to get pictures and they wanted to have analysis and so forth. And, of course, the story that the SEALs are telling, one of the SEALs, is that he purposely shot bin Laden in the face twice. Doesn't match up. There's this Rob O'Neill is saying that when he shot the fatal shot, he saw that Bin Laden had a gun within reach, and he had to shoot because there was a gun there and so forth. All right, well, that turns out to be a lie because when they went in, they did a search of the whole room there, and it took them quite a while to even find a weapon. So it couldn't have been one just, right there in reach. Well, there's all these inconsistencies, and this is between the Navy SEALs themselves. So wouldn't that indicate then that the Navy SEALs were actually there and they were telling these lies because they just wanted fame, but they were actually there and it actually happened, and so therefore they must have killed bin Laden? I don't think so. I think there may be another more cynical reason why this is going on and these stories are being told. But here's the problem, friends. Osama bin Laden died 13 years ago. This was reported not only by the Pakistan Observer, also by the New York Times. They said this in the Pakistan Observer. Osama bin Laden has died a peaceful death due to an untreated lung complication, citing Taliban leader who allegedly attended the funeral of the Al-Qaeda leader. Not only this, but the New York Times reported the death of bin Laden in 2001. And this is what they wrote by the New York Times. Osama bin Laden is dead. The news first came from sources in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Almost 6 months ago, the fugitive died in December of 2001. Was buried in the mountains of southeast Afghanistan. Pakistani's President Pervez Musharraf echoed the information. The remnants of Osama's gang, however, have mostly stayed silent, either to keep Osama's ghost alive or because they have no means of communication. So there you go, friends. You really got to decide what you're going to believe here. But all the evidence supports the fact that Osama bin Laden died in 2001. Now, I'm going to give you some more sources. I'm going to put some links down in the description box. You can go there and look at these. But there's a link that I'm going to put there that shows that in March of 2000, the Chicago Tribune reports that an Afghan witness and a Western intelligence official says bin Laden is suffering from severe kidney and liver failure. All right, so this is consistent then in March of 2000 that he would have died from these complications sometime thereafter. It was picked up by CBS News in 2000, who outright led with the title that bin Laden reported to be dying from kidney disease. And I'll put that link. In July of 2001, the South Asia Analysis Group reports bin Laden, who suffers from renal deficiency, has been periodically undergoing dialysis in Peshawar Military Hospital with the knowledge and the approval of the Inter-Service Intelligence, ISI, if not of Gin Pervez Musharraf himself, and I'll put the link for that. Now, friends, I mean, if this man is dying in the hospital on dialysis back in 2001, I don't think he would have been alive, hiding out in some cave until the year 2011. But from September to November of 2001, bin Laden is trapped in Afghanistan, unable to receive kidney treatments. Now, if you're on dialysis and you don't get your kidney treatments, you will die. I had a friend who actually died of this, and so, I'm familiar with this. And most of you know this. In September of 2001, PBS Frontline interviews the former general counsel for the CIA, mentioning reports from 1998 that the DEA found out Osama bin Laden was undergoing kidney dialysis with a doctor in Peshawar. They mentioned further that the DEA wanted to poison bin Laden through the dialysis machine, but the CIA allegedly rejected this due to the ban on assassinations. The Guardian, November 2001, is reporting that French intelligence officials say bin Laden was flown to Dubai for kidney treatment in July of 2001. He also met with several CIA agents and the head of the Saudi intelligence. This story is picked up by several French newspapers. I'll give you the link for that. So in December of 2001, it says bin Laden is dead, buried in Afghanistan, December of 2001. The New York Times reports on high-level murmurings that bin Laden is dead. And I will give you the link for that. That same day, citing a Taliban source, Fox News reports that bin Laden has died due to an untreated lung complication from kidney disease. About 30 close associates reportedly attended bin Laden's funeral in the Tora Bor region of Afghanistan. A source concludes that the U.S. government and other forces are in a mad search operation, but will never be able to locate the now dead bin Laden buried in an unmarked location. So, yeah, this is getting pretty hard to debunk this. Late December 2001 to March of 2002, bin Laden's death video is released in late December of 2001. After reports of bin Laden's funeral, a new video appears of gaunt, sickly Osama bin Laden. The London Telegraph reports verbatim. This is what it says. The recording was dismissed by the British administration yesterday as sick propaganda, possibly designed to mask the fact that al-Qaeda leader was already dead. One aide further concludes that the video was created earlier in the event bin Laden had died, who by December of 2001 was so heavily surrounded he would have been unable to escape to obtain kidney dialysis. So, friends, there you go. I mean, that's the real story. That's what really happened. And, of course we don't know. They could have been lying back then when they were saying he was dying and he wasn't really dying. I mean, when somebody lies all the time and that's all you ever hear out of their mouth is lies, then, you don't really know what to believe. It was the government of this United States of America, governments of the British government, other governments who said he died. The New York Times, if they were lying then and they're telling the truth now, then really doesn't matter. All of this is theatrics. It's all propaganda. And we're buying it hook, line, and sinker, friends. And we've got to stop doing that. So, friends, let's open up our eyes. Let's get the word out. And do not, for any reason, absolutely do not vote for anyone coming out of the elite mainstream puppeteer factory that's, going into the Republican and the Democratic parties. Do they really think that we're going to vote for another Bush or Romney again or one of these other yahoos? Friends, don't do it. Christie, that's a joke. This man should not. These are career politicians, puppets of the great banker elites. Friends, don't do it. They are totally destroying our world and our minds, friends. We've got to get somebody in there like Rand Paul, whose father for many years ran on getting rid of the Fed and getting out of these wars all over the world and going back to a real constitutional government. So, friends, this is David Bose. That's all I've got to say this week. You guys have a great day. This is David Bose signing out.